Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get to Steve Bannon surrendering himself to New York authorities. I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. This is about the 10,000th time they've tried to put him in prison. Definitely Democrats don't go after their direct political rivals. They're obsessed with this man. They're obsessed with Trump. And the interesting thing is that, do you ever see city attorneys in a red state with just conservatives going after a Democrat? Does that ever happen? You can say, well, there's an issue with jurisdiction, and you don't know what you're talking about. It's completely apolitical. You have Democrats in Georgia, Democrats in New York, Democrats at the Mueller probe special counsel going after Trump and Bannon and all of these people. And you have a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent resigning for helping cover up the Hunter email fiasco, where there's graft and bribery within those emails. Then you had Kevin Kleinsmith, the top agent at the Bureau, pleading guilty in the Durham probe special counsel to falsifying evidence to deceive a FISA judge in order to continue an investigation into one of Trump's people within his campaign. So, Carter Page. So, you have all of this, and we'll get to that in a second, but this is very important. A Yahoo News Business Insider article, Trump pushed to preserve White House docs because he was convinced Biden would destroy evidence of an intelligence agency plot against him, report says. I think that's very likely. And I think that there are a number of reasons why Trump probably kept classified documents. Now, the main reason was very likely there was a quick and hurried push to just leave the White House and the Oval Office. They weren't happy when he was inaugurated and he got into the Oval Office. They weren't happy when he left. They're never happy. It's 2 years into mashed potato brains presidency, and they're still talking about Trump and Bannon and menaces to democracy and all of these things. But here, Trump pushed to preserve White House docs because he was convinced Biden would destroy evidence. Yahoo News, a Business Insider article. Trump told staffers at the end of his term to preserve documents about the Russia probe per Rolling Stone. He reportedly believed they would prove an intelligence agency plot against him and tried to get them declassified. He thought Biden's team would shred or destroy them. Yeah, they would. They would totally cover up. That's how they roll. They intimidate Twitter, or actually they just ask Twitter, because the people there are more than willing to censor anything that harms Democrats. By the way, I'm going to talk about all of this, Bannon, Trump preserving Russiagate documents, a whole bunch of things tonight. I'll have a live stream tonight. Be here on the live stream at about 9:30 p.m. Pacific tonight. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel. Huge, important news today about Bannon and President Trump. But if you want to support my work long-term, my Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to give a super thanks, the super thanks is below. Let's just read this, and I'll give you my thoughts. Former President Donald Trump pushed aides to preserve documents from the Russia investigation that he believed exonerated him because he believed that Joe Biden would destroy them, Rolling Stone reported. So it's a Rolling Stone article. The interesting thing here is that the Rolling Stone article and the Business Insider article don't talk about the Durham probe special counsel, okay? They don't mention that Kevin Kleinsmith pled guilty to falsifying records. They don't mention that Mark Elias and Robbie Mook pointed the finger at Hillary Clinton, and I want a Hillary Trump 2024, but in the first time, for a number of reasons, but the first time in a court of law, Hillary Clinton was implicated in fomenting and spreading fake, false, derogatory news about Trump. The Alpha Bank story was completely fabricated. The Steele dossier was completely fabricated. There was only a high to moderate confidence assessment of loyalists within the intel agencies of an outgoing Democratic administration. They would never allow this. They're such hypocrites. And what takes place is a judge, this is a recent example, a judge says, we're going to appoint Trump a special master. Oh my God, there goes respect for our institutions and our democracy and our democratic institutions out the window. There goes respect and reverence for the rule of law. Oh my God, this judge was appointed by Trump. Oh my God, it was untethered from the rule of law. Horrible decision. Oh my goodness, experts say it was the wrong thing to do. He should never get a special master. Oh my goodness. When Stacey Abrams still thinks she defeated Kemp. She still hasn't conceded to Kemp in Georgia. Democrats never concede. And then they say, oh, Trump, big threat to democracy. Republicans. What's this big menace to democracy? Is it the recession we face? Is it the shutting down of the U.S. economy that Democrats gleefully enacted with their apoplectic and hysterical policies? Where we have record highs in inflation, household median income is down 4.4%. They don't care about any of these things. They just look at Trump as the embodiment of evil and criminality. They can't find anything to indict him on. They might actually indict him in 2023 because Joe, mashed potato brains, is going to get impeached. But of course Trump is going to hide or, preserve records. They could actually get him on that. They could actually indict him on that. But the thing is, he's a former president. They're not going to convict a former president because presidents can declassify. They can declassify almost anything. If it's restricted data, they would need if it's restricted data about nuclear armament or nuclear weapons, then they would need to get the Department of Energy to sign off. That Trump would, but the Secretary of Energy was a Trump Republican. So I mean, the belief now is that he didn't follow protocol, but he was following protocol, or at least negotiating. He didn't have secret servers outside the U.S. government siphoning classified data onto networks outside where the entire planet, according to Michael Hayden, almost certainly hacked into the information. Okay, it's a lot easier to infiltrate a private secret server network than go into Mar-a-Lago and take a whole bunch of boxes where you don't even know what you're looking for. Okay? In terms of a cybersecurity nightmare, they made a complete and utter mockery of classified data. And Comey wrote that letter not because he was political, because it was a cover-up. They couldn't cover it up because classified data was flying around the U.S. government. They said, oh my goodness, gee, we have classified data outside Uma Abedin's laptop. You shouldn't have secret private networks outside of a government with 30,000 deleted emails. Now they're accusing Trump of selling nuclear secrets. Okay? What they never accused Clinton of deleting emails that perhaps show arrangements to sell classified data. Even I'm not accusing her of that. Because I know almost certainly the National Security and Central Intelligence and every other agency, they all essentially almost certainly knew that she had those servers and were monitoring everything that she was typing. So, but that's a whole other story. I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I support President Trump. 2016, the Washington Post called me the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. And in all of YouTube, nobody wants Hillary Clinton to be nominee more than I do. Letting everybody know that, by the way. She'd be better than mashed potato brains, but obviously I'd vote for Trump a million times over. But I want every single morally superior liberal and edgy socialist to say vote for Hillary. I want to see that for some reason, I don't know, and other reasons too. But she committed crimes. Hunter obviously committed numerous crimes. And most of his pictures, there's a crime in the picture of the video. But you see what's taking place. He almost certainly has Russiagate documents or documents belonging or, that prove the Durham probe special counsel to be on the right track, let's say. There were people who set him up and framed him with a dossier purchased by Clinton. Now, he very likely has information on that. The fact that the Rolling Stone doesn't even mention the Durham probe is very interesting. Okay, it's a special counsel. They were all about the Mueller probe, which didn't find anything. Nobody was indicted on conspiring with another country. It never, ever happened. It never, ever happened. That was a completely fabricated hoax. The notion that you would investigate an incoming president because his foreign policy is different from his predecessor is completely absurd. That's the whole point of choosing a different president. You want a different foreign policy. My God. And then these are the people who talk about democracy. They cheated Bernie Sanders in a completely phony and, primary that was preordained. They can't even run their own primaries. And in their own primaries, there's no ranked choice. There's none of the stuff they love so much. And the primary system that Democrats run, you could see every 4 years, they cheat Bernie Sanders. Okay? And he doesn't care. He's part of a very corrupt system. They cover up criminal behavior by Hillary and Hunter. And Joe, there's a poll out. This is hilarious. The majority of Americans think that MAGA Republicans are a threat to democracy. It's like they polled 1,000 people. There's 320 plus million Americans. They polled 1,000 people. And polls, these types of polls are notorious for being completely wrong. And if that were true, then why would we have a recession now with the majority of Americans being very unhappy with mashed potato brains Joe? Okay? So, and the Democratic Party is at all-time lows in terms of poll numbers, and also nobody trusts media. So you can say the majority of Americans do not trust media. Of course, the majority of Democrats do because, everybody from Jimmy Kimmel to CNN to the Washington Post to Rolling Stone to the Yahoo News, they just, Vanity Fair, Esquire, The Atlantic, they just all parrot the same thing. We don't really have a free press. It's basically, it's not state-run, but it's political party-run journalism and media. Everybody from the Washington Post, all the way down to late night. Like, how many late night show hosts do you need? My God. Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert. I mean, is there any Trump Republican in any of these networks? No. But Trump is the big threat to democracy. You have a complete groupthink. You have complete groupthink in terms of political thought and ideology in America. Complete and utter groupthink. Most Democrats can't even define democracy. What is democracy? Debbie Wasserman Schultz in the DNC emails showing that Bernie Sanders was cheated? What is democracy? Russia hacking the DNC to show that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus forcing votes to Trump? I mean, the propaganda is so easily, refuted. But people believe it. They don't care. That's why you have Democrats who disown friends and family. They're ignorant of the corruption within their own side, which is far worse. So now you have far worse than anything Trump ever did. See, the actual corruption of Democrats and the criminality is overshadowed by the apoplectic and hysterical reaction to Trump's every word, which isn't criminal, by the way. He's allowed to have his own opinions, by the way. God forbid Donald Trump doesn't agree with Democrats or CNN. God forbid. But here you have Bannon surrenders to New York authorities for the 10,000th time. And oh my God, they're after Bannon. They're going after Mar-a-Lago. Every day is the same thing. It's Groundhog Day every day for the Democratic Party. Steve Bannon, one-time political advisor, surrendered Thursday to authorities in New York to face charges linked to the We Build the Wall, an online fundraising campaign. Gee, I am so certain that New York prosecutors care about any money that was taken from Trump supporters who wanted to build a wall. See, they just care so much. These people will find, look, if New York prosecutors aren't going after Trump, they're going after anyone around Trump. Do they ever investigate Democrats? Ever? The Clinton Foundation for maybe a nanosecond was investigated by one prosecutor, former prosecutor, if he didn't find anything. It's just, coincidence, 20 million different coincidental transactions with beneficial treatment taking place. Definitely not a graft machine. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. And then Hunter's emails, who knows what's going on. What do you need to investigate here? You have 150 suspicious financial transactions, according to CBS News, and you have Hunter without any clothes on, with narcotics and committing crimes on video and on photographs and in emails. But what do you have to investigate? But they're investigating Trump for 6 years. They can't find anything. They have videos, emails, photos, secret servers. Can't find anything. Gosh, rule of law. Rule of law. These people are hilarious, like criminals. This is like, American politics is like hearing and watching criminals lecture half the country. In a vapid, absurd attempt, sophomoric attempt at shielding their own criminality, their own overt criminality. We know exactly, we see everything. You read the New York Post, Daily Mail, Federalist, you can read all these publications, you can see. There's only a handful, but the entire media is suppressing all of this information. Anyway, Bannon surrendered to authorities. Yay, Democrats, you're so happy now, yay. One day, the walls are closing in on Trump's empire. Oh, democracy. It's 2 years, going on 3 years. Into Biden's presidency, he's done absolutely nothing but tank the U.S. economy, and there's an invasion under his watch. But we didn't have any of that under Trump. We just had a complete meltdown of media and political pundits, but we had a great economy with a great foreign policy. God forbid Trump Republicans give us a great economy and a great foreign policy. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Yeah, Trump very likely hid those documents regarding a plot against him. That does raise legal questions. Give me